Hi, welcome to Sinister Inquisitions, the interview show. My name is James Sato. I'm your host. With me, as usual, is co-host Terry Sherwood.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. And welcome, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me.
Joining us tonight is Cris Arrau, who is the founder and festival director for Dead by Con, which is a brand new horror convention in Edmonton, Alberta. It's the first dedicated horror festival that they have, and we're going to be there. So we're looking forward to meeting you.
Yep.
And tell us, how did this come to fruition?
Well, it was basically the brainchild of an idea that came from a couple of guys. They brought it to me after it didn't go quite as well as it should have, and we basically turned it into a full-fledged horror convention. So I'm the co-founder. We've got a couple of guys on the team that were right there in the beginning, Brian and Dave and Alex. And so, it just sort of evolved into this really sort of crazy project that just gained more and more momentum. And the idea being, we would put together a convention, a festival, if you will, that would unite horror fans in the community, both, Edmonton, Calgary, and beyond. And something that would, again, unify everybody in the sort of horror community, give everyone a platform to sort of come and showcase their wares if they're a vendor or, fans of horror film in general. We've got a ton of, guest vendors, everything. It's just going to be a variety show for everyone in the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, before we get into guests and vendors and that kind of thing, how long have you been a horror fan?
Oh boy. Well, since a long time. Yeah, it pretty much struck me as a child. I think the first horror film I ever watched in its entirety was Poltergeist. So, I mean,
okay.
Early 80s, 84, something like that. And yeah,
it was. What was the part that hooked you in it? When you watched Poltergeist? What was the part that got you?
The vulnerability of Caroline. She was the young baby of the family, right? So you're used to interpreting certain horrific images with them affecting adults. At least I was at the time, right? And there was a certain connection I was able to draw to Caroline's character as the kid, and being sucked into such a familiar medium, which was TV, right? And it was just like, wow, this could happen to me as a kid. I was, enthralled by the prospect of that, and scared shitless at the same time. So, I drew a real connection to it. The imagery, the audio, the music that Hooper used was just unreal, and of course, the creepy old, just that cherry on the cake. So, yeah, it was a movie that stuck with me for many years. The sequels, not so much, but definitely that was the one that hooked me.
Cool.
Did you see the remake? Did you see the remake?
I did.
And,
yeah. I mean, as far as remakes go, I mean, you could be, anybody could play the role of the purist and absolutely shit on remakes, right? I mean, whatever. We've all done it to some extent. It was a fun movie. I mean, would I compare it to the effect and the impact the original had? Absolutely not. And I think that can be said for most remakes safely. But what I usually say on the subject of remakes is if you've never seen the original and you just watched it, like The Thing, for example, tons of shit from critics and, again, horror purists as far as what the remake bastardized about the original. If you had seen the original on its own as a modern horror movie, you would have probably said, hey, this is pretty cool, right? And I kind of felt the same way about Poltergeist, right? And it's all relative. If you don't have that innate connection to the original, the nostalgia of it, the appreciation for the practical effects, the era itself, if you don't have all that kind of weighing down your judgment, and you just look at the remake for what it is, just a new horror movie with the same storyline, well, it skews your opinion a little bit. So I try to be less cynical when I can, which isn't often.
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, the original Poltergeist, you know, the posters, everything, the most iconic thing about it was in front of the
Hands on the
TV.
screen.
Yeah, and they're here, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and in the remake, you know, she turns to the camera and goes, they're here. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cut. Can we try that again let's do it again. And that was the best take they got. Like that one just, it destroyed the iconography of the whole thing for me. And after that, I was taken right out of the film, you know.
It removes you. There's certain elements of remakes that remove you from the impact that the originals had, right? I mean, if you delve into it, and you can really make an evening of this discussion in and of itself. But you look at, you know, again, to use the example of The Thing, I mean, Carpenter, his version was a remake in and of itself. But if you compare his version to the remake, you know, you've got the argument that practical effects reigned supreme, right? It was something that was groundbreaking at the time to some extent. Certainly showcased practical effects more so than a lot of its contemporaries. And you compare that to the remake, where there was a lot of the CGI and the polished over kind of you know, modern take on it. And yeah, it removed you from that original sort of like rubberized sort of alien effect coming out of the, you know, its victims, right? So I found anyway, when I was watching the remake, and mind you, the story had been spoiled because I obviously hadn't seen it, but it took away from that suspense where in the original, you know, you've got them all strapped up in their chairs kind of thing, and they're doing the Inquisition to see who the alien culprit is. When the effects struck and you see the practical effects, the makeup and everything, the dummies and everything, it really hits you a lot harder, I find, you know, comparing it to just a polished over CGI thing where you think, okay, immediately it's like, okay, well, they can do anything with CGI. The effects that they're achieving right now, it's just some guy behind a computer. It takes you away from that, you know, the magic of the makeup, if you will. Kind of how I see it anyway.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with your point of view there. That's, you know, it's.
Is there going to be any remakes at the Edmonton convention?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Or are we looking at original film here?
Oh no, it's all original content. We've got a number of shorts. I mean, our programmer John and Dave, they did a bang up job of screening through. I think it was something like 19, 20 hours worth of content that came our way. So it was an overwhelming response. We were really happy with that. But yeah, a lot of shorts, some full feature-length films. This little flick called Blood Mania, I hear is pretty good.
Oh yeah, I hear it's pretty good. Yeah.
So we're excited. It's actually turned out to be a pretty good program for year one, especially.
Good. So, well, without any further ado, tell us who you've got lined up for guests. And
yeah. Well, I believe we started with Felissa Rose. She was our original announced guest, and we were excited as hell because she's an absolute riot. I mean, she's a bona fide scream queen. She's been a part of a number of projects over the years within the horror genre. I mean, to anybody who knows horror, she doesn't need my introduction. But I mean, her iconic role, signature role, I guess you could say, from Sleepaway Camp, and I believe part 4, the iconic face with the whole eyes and the mouth open thing. I mean, she brings it all. She's just an amazing performer on and off screen, and she really does the convention scene very well. Like she mingles with the guests. She does the whole photo op thing. She never, you know, there isn't an ounce of cynicism to her. She's just raw party energy. So she's great. She was her first one. Following Felissa, we had Camille Keaton, who we announced, and I have a personal vested interest in having brought her on board because I was a fan of the original. You know, I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
One of the foremost. I don't know if I'd call it the original, but definitely one of the more noteworthy sexploitation movies in you know, that genre. So
well, I think it was the first that got wide regard and wide, you know, coverage.
Absolutely. Mirza Archie, I mean, I don't know who he had promoting the film, but it definitely achieved that that notoriety right
Yeah,
off the hop.
well, I think we can safely say in North America for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when we were brainstorming guests, she was definitely near the top of our list, and I was gung ho on getting her, and sure enough, she agreed, and here we are.
Good.
She's going to be there. She was the second guest that we announced. Third came Tony Moran, so the original face of Michael Myers from the 1978 John Carpenter original Halloween. Everybody knows Nick Castle played the moving body of the character throughout the film.
The Shape.
But,
Yeah.
The Shape, yeah. But it was the again, that iconic scene where Michael's mask comes up and you see Tony Moran's face. And the reason being, Deborah, John Carpenter's wife, had wanted, and maybe I'm telling you something you already are aware of, but she wanted a face that was going to sort of invoke this innocence, right? And I guess she felt Castle didn't quite have it, so enter Tony Moran, who'd done some work in TV at the time, I believe. But yeah, he had the look, so they cast him, and there we go. He is the face that we were so eager to see behind the mask, behind the Captain Kirk mask.
Yeah, the Shatner mask.
Right. So when we come to the convention, and people will come to the convention, because looking at your site, which is, in my opinion, really well set up for visually telling the story and everything, what can these people expect from the guests? Can they do a photo op with them? Can they mingle with them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We've got, I mean, they're going to have their own booth set up, right? So they're going to have their tables with their pictures, stock convention,
standard convention,
right? Yeah. But we are going to have sort of a professional photo area that's going to be done by schedule. So that schedule is going to be released a little closer to the event itself. That's going to have our backdrop. It's going to have professional lighting, actual cameras, not just selfies and stuff. And those prints are going to be available for purchase, and they're going to be legit. So you've got that FaceTime with the guests. If you were fortunate enough to buy early for your VIP passes, they're going to be attending the VIP party, which is going to be held at Tavern on White, which is kind of our home base, our home away from home. And so a nice little intimate bar. We're going to have all the guests there, our VIP pass holders. Sort of a intimate and interactive type vibe there, without the rush of the crowd at the convention. So nice little dynamic there. Incidentally, we're going to have, I hear we're going to do karaoke that night, and Melissa Rose is a huge karaoke fan, so we're going to see what kind of chops she brings to Edmonton.
Which night is that? Is that the Friday night, or? It's
on the Friday. Yeah. VIP night's on the Friday.
Cool.
So if you gents are down, let me know.
Yeah. Well, it's a matter of, I think we'll be leaving Calgary at 7 in the morning or something. I'm not really sure at this point. Terry can only go on the Sunday.
My schedule's different, but that sounds like a fun event, and people watching this, should definitely. Do you need tickets for that, or is this do you need to ask for it?
VIP tickets were available, sort of on a pre-order basis, but there is a bit of a fun surprise that we've got planned for Saturday night, which we've not announced yet. So to anybody that missed the VIP passes on Friday, don't fret, there is hope, and I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. We were talking, and you said you had a fourth guest to announce, and this one really excited me. So please go ahead.
That's the fourth guest. You're right. We kind of trailed off a little bit. The fourth guest who we brought on very recently is David Howard Thornton himself, the man behind the clown costume for Art the Clown in the movie Terrifier. So Leon took Art's audition tape, and I don't want to tell too much because I'm sure this will be the subject of some Q&A material here, but he saw his audition tape, and physical, the mannerisms that he exhibited during that audition were what captured that green light for Leon to bring him on for the second installment. And I actually posted the audition tape on our Facebook page so you can see it. And you can really, I mean, it's odd to see David acting out the clown without the costume and the makeup on, because I mean, it is so, you know, so signature and impactful itself to see it in full effect. Mm-hmm. It's an odd thing to see him doing the same mannerisms, the same smiles, the same facial gestures without the makeup on. And yeah, you can definitely see how a director would see that and go, okay, yeah, you look psychotic. Let's put you in makeup. Let's get this fucking thing rolling.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
So yeah, it was, it was a really golden opportunity to bring David on board, and he was all too willing. And with the other 3 guests that we had lined up, he was like, yeah, let's do it. Totally great attitude. And he's looking forward to joining us.
And if I'm not mistaken, it is his first Canadian convention appearance?
Absolutely right. Yeah, it is his first Canadian appearance. So I think he's scheduled for a convention in Ontario this summer. So we're definitely the first Canadian appearance that he's having. So,
oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Excellent. So tell us a bit about the venue.
Yeah, it's at the Radisson Hotel and Convention Center. So really nice place, actually. We searched around for a number of venues that might fit the bill, and we landed at the Radisson because it's 13,000 plus square feet. What I really liked about the venue myself is that it has a main ballroom, which is where the, you know, obviously the bigger size room is, and it has a hallway that leads to a West Conference room. So there's 2 of them, and it gives you sort of a duality. You know, there's different tones that we're kind of anticipating between the 2. So it gives, again, in the interest of sort of establishing that variety for the convention, it gives the viewer sort of this variety that they can go from one room to the next, different decor, different vibe, but equally as entertaining. And it's all in the interest of picking what you dig, you know, and stick with it. So it was a great venue, very modern. To our guests out of town, it's a really nice accommodation too, and fairly central to the south side. So yeah, we went with it. Good spot.
Good. Yeah. Good. Well, that sounds wonderful.
Seems on a direct route, because I looked it up on the map. So I have another silly question. Sometimes with conventions and everything, I know the big push might be a family event. Is there anything that, you know, I have my little girl or my little boy or my little thing that wants to come to this? Is there something that they could do that happens?
Well,
within reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a family event. I mean, we don't have anything that's going to be too gratuitous or graphic or you know, explicit, right? I mean, within the realm of the horror genre, and I mean, let's face it, if you're a parent and you're there with your kid, you're a parent who watches horror movies, right? So right off the bat, you're not going to be, you know, sheepish about, you know, movie covers or posters or whatever that are on display. So within that realm, we're very inviting to the family dynamic. I mean, our youngest vendor at the show, Joel Mitchell, who's a terrific artist. He's done artwork that's been showcased in The Exorcist, right, the TV show. Mm-hmm. And CBC just recently did a spot on him. He's going to be there showcasing his work. He comes from this quintessential, you know, horror family that, you know, we all basically in a one way or another came from. But his parents are absolutely cool with, you know, some of the subject matter, and they've taken the time to instill in him the difference between reality and fiction, right? And that's the important part of introducing this kind of subject matter to young kids. You have to be able to draw that line for them, you know, with material that's a little too beyond their comprehension, and bring them back to the fact that it's fun. You know, we're all there just having a good time. None of it's real. Makeup does amazing things on film, so does audio, but at the end of the day, we're all just fans putting artwork to film or, you know, other means. So within that realm, yeah, it's a very family oriented event. There aren't any, you know, you're not going to find like a kid's playground in the corner or something like that. But it's an opportunity for parents to bring their kids closer into the genre, right? To show them things, you know, classic horror icons, tell them about this movie or point out that actor. And hey, when you're a little older, I'll show you the movie that guy's in. But in the meantime, get a picture with him. When you're watching the movie and you're scared of him, you can look at your picture and be like, hey, you were smiling and laughing next to this guy or to this girl, right? So it's sort of an unveiling of the fear or the perception of fear, along with the appreciation of it, right? And it lends itself to children as much as it does to old school fans like you and I. So.
Yeah. Excellent. So tell us a bit about what fans can look forward to in terms of vendors.
Oh yes, vendors. It's again, it's been quite the selection process, but we're super happy with who we brought on board. I mean, if you're into collecting movies, which I guess is square one of the whole thing, we've got collectors and stores. Videonomicon is a vendor that's coming that deals in movies. Pet Rock Collectibles, which is run by our own John Pettipass on the board, and Joe. Real Canadian Film. These are collectors that have built an online business kind of thing and a following. Basically collecting movies, discussing them, sharing them, selling them, buying them, you name it. It's just been their focus, right? And they bring classics, they bring new titles, out of print titles, which is the big thing with conventions, because that's when you get the really rare stuff, right? And stuff that's not really available retail for the most part. And the stuff that is available retail, which is prime example is our near and dear Lobby DVD shop on White Ave. Mm-hmm. They're going to be at the show themselves with the booth. So I mean, you got a little bit of both worlds, right? More exclusive, off the grid stuff and retail shop aspect. So you got the movies covered. You got we've got vendors that are selling posters, rare posters, collectibles, matted and framed artwork. We've got a terrific vendor who custom makes shoes. Sol Seville is her name, Michelle. We have got Tugs from down at Drumheller. He does everything under the sun. Both he and Edmonton Coin and Stamp from West Edmonton Mall are going to have a huge setup there with a display of everything from NECA, Mezco, sideshow toys, you name it, just everything under the sun. So yeah, movies, posters, collectibles, pictures, artwork, photography. We've got this amazing vendor coming in by the name of Stolen Innocence Photography. I just ran a spotlight on them on our social media page. And what she does, Melissa Trotter, she does sort of a boudoir type thing where she'll do, a photo session in its more conventional sense, but she'll add these very dark elements to it, and she'll sit down, go over what you want to do, what sort of image you want to invoke, and she'll take photos that she does with you, and then she'll digitally enhance them with like anything you want. And I really mean that, like, the kind of gory element you want, nothing's too gory. She can go as far as you need her to. And she puts together these like amazing portfolios for you. I mean, it's right on today's page. It's one of the newer posts. Check it out. You'll love it.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. You should do one, Jim.
Oh yeah.
We should both get together and, behead each other,
I just want to be surrounded by hot bitches on their knees around me. So,
Sky's the limit, I guess.
Other question. What about authors? Do you have authors' books, this kind of thing? Because there are people that.
No, we looked into a couple of authors. We have one coming, and we've. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a cheat sheet going here in case you hadn't noticed. Just because I left out a lot of info.
I thought you were reading it off your.
Got one author coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just tattoo it all on there. Yeah. We have an author coming, and the name eludes me right now. But we looked into a number of authors. We looked into some horror authors that were on possibly on book tour, make a stop, and the enthusiasm was there, but the timing just wasn't. We actually had John Cicerelli, the Phantasm author. Mm-hmm. The scheduling wasn't going to work out, but he was gung-ho with the idea, so I guess we'll chalk that up to a next year kind of thing. But yeah, as far as authors, we've got one coming who definitely has some good material to dive into. Check him out when you're there. I'll post either John or myself will post a vendor spotlight to let you know exactly who he is and what he's about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, are you already planning for next year's convention, or is that something you're going to wait, take a few weeks off after this one? And
you know, James, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't already giving early thought to some new ideas. But obviously, the focus is in making sure you've got a successful first year, right?
oh yeah, for sure.
What's in front of us. But I would imagine that once the convention has come and gone, that we'll be hard at work at it before long, and you know, working on how to improve and grow year 2. I know it's going to be a good one.
How do the folks watching this get tickets now if they want to go?
Yeah, well, the easiest way is to go to www.deadbycon.ca. That's our website. So all the major news is on there as far as you know, guests, fundraisers, you know, any kind of big stuff like that. And of course, you've got your ticket purchases there. You can have you can pick up your weekend passes, your single day passes, your merch, T-shirts. We're going to add stickers on there soon. So again, it's a work in progress. It's going to evolve, but yeah, if you want passes for the weekend, that's your easy spot right there. You can also visit the Lobby on White Ave here in town. Kamikaze Inc., who is one of our sponsors, and incidentally, they're going to be doing tattooing at the show that weekend, so they're going to be inking. Call ahead if you want to book a spot. They're actually selling tickets too, so there's a few options. If you want to go digital, or if you want to kick it old school and go in person to pick up your tickets, you got options.
Another silly question. When does it open? When does it start? Like, does it start like 7 in the morning, 10 in the morning, 8 in the morning?
No, we open doors at 10 o'clock. I believe our first intro is at 10:30. And I don't have the program in front of me, but I believe Blood Mania is introduced at 10:45 on the Saturday. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be late for that. So we'll do.
I will be.
Well, yeah, I guess you'll be very.
I will be there on Sunday. But you can. Jim looks perturbed at me when I say that.
Well, I just wish you were there, man. You know.
I'm sorry. Well,
yeah.
I'll bring my cutout. I'll bring my cutout stand up. How about that?
There you go. We'll prop it down on a chair, and then you'll be there in spirit. How's that?
You like that?
No, I've got the cameras covered and everything else. So we will be wandering around shooting. I don't know if...
Oh, say that differently, please, in this day and age, wandering around shooting.
Footage.
No, the dangerous ones aren't announced, so that's the disclaimer right there.
Yeah.
Does a person need to book any kind of press with credentials or anything to have a brief chat with the guests? Or?
Well, I mean, it's going to be pretty much, open forum as far as when they're at their booth, right? So, I mean, if you wanted, a few minutes FaceTime with them, I'm sure they're going to be more than open to it. There's going to be, Q&A as well, open Q&A. But given that we started in the beginning thinking, okay, we've got 48 hours to fill. How are we going to do this? Mm-hmm. Going, oh my God, we don't have enough time to fit in all this stuff, right? So, so the schedule's filled up. Q&A panels, the screenings, the photo shoots, all this stuff. It overlaps about as much as we felt would functionally work, and to introduce any more exclusive time for our guests. Just wasn't really going to work. So I would say, yeah, when they're at their booth, if anybody wants to have a chat with them, I'm sure they're going to be open to it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
That will be my quest on Sunday for a few.
Yeah. Well, I know that Tony's Q&A is on Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely then.
And on Sunday, you're also screening Camille Keaton's new film.
We are. And speaking of, first Canadian release. I believe we are also the first festival to show Camille Keaton's new project, Cry for the Bad Man. So that's actually looking really good. It's a new home invasion thriller that she's a part of, and yeah, it's well produced. It's watch the trailer there online. Again, it's on our website there. It looks like a phenomenal project. So she's going to be touring that, and we've gotten, I guess you can call it news, even though there isn't a firm date, but the official sequel to I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu, starring, of course, Camille Keaton and Jamie Bernadette, is going to be seeing its official release date this year too. So things happening for that lady this year.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and Terry will be up on Sunday, and he's going to be doing an article for, do you want to show off?
Want me to do it? Yeah, we'll do it.
Give him a plug.
This magazine.
Yeah, Horror Hound.
Yes, that magazine. I will be there. Spread the word. Maybe I can chat with some people on that. And I'd like to thank you for the late addition that I asked for when I received the news.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to going through it, and I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be an exciting time. There's going to be a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised about what you guys have come up with.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah,
I think there's people going to be disappointed, but who cares about them, right?
There's always haters, but who listens to them, right?
Yeah.
We'll laugh, we'll cry. It'll become a part of us. It'll change us.
I'll be there working with these people, and I'm looking forward to it immensely.
Oh, absolutely. That would be tremendous.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that's happening on Sunday, which as in your case, attending on Sunday, just to highlight some of the cool things about that day in particular, we've got the cosplay contest happening that day, so you're going to actually see that, and James is going to sit. We've got Val Smith from Deadly Dolls, who's going to actually be heading up our cosplay contest. So she's going to be doing assuming the hosting duties, and she's got a small panel of very credited judges to, their skill and their trained eye to work and come up with some winners for our first year. So we don't know how it's going to play out. That's kind of the mystique behind the cosplay contest our first year out. But we're hoping everybody comes out dressed in their best horror garb, and not only have the costume going, but she kind of gave me a little bit of insight. I had to pick her brain a little bit as to what the criteria will be, and one of them is how in character are they, and that'll play a big part of it, right? We'll see what comes up. There's going to be some prizes there. There's going to be obviously the title of the first annual Dead by Con cosplay winner, different categories, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's something, Terry, that you're gonna see.
I wait with bated breath. I will put worms in my mouth.
Are you going to dress up? Are you going to compete?
No, I am dressed up now. Give me a minute.
Really? Oh shit! You had me going.
But maybe we should go as Slender Men, Jim. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Yeah. Yeah.
You're in a special effects crew, are you?
Had I known, I would have gotten Stuart Bentley to come as his character Gordo from Blood Mania.
Right.
We could be something in American. We're going to do something in American Mary. That's what we're going to do. We should do that. The whole American Mary shtick. That would be cool. But well, maybe not. Some people might not understand that. But
so let me ask you a question here, if I may ask one of my own. Are you guys looking forward to, or I guess James, are you looking forward to Q&A with Matt Frame from Camp Death?
Yeah, it should be very interesting. Yeah, we discussed on the podcast what we thought of the movie. And he said as brutal as you want to be,
That's
so
me.
Oh, he's bulletproof. The guy is amazing, right? And
I just want to find out his motivation. There's certain. I'd like to sit down with him and just chat with him and say, just as one filmmaker to another.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting. And I think anybody who comes out to the Blood Mania Q&A I've got some news and a few other things that
Really?
that is just sort of breaking now. So
No kidding. Well,
yeah,
that's fantastic. I look forward to that myself.
yeah.
And to some of the signed H.G. Lewis pieces that you've got too.
I will
That's
have copies of the Gory Story script autographed by Mr. Lewis. I will have the teaser posters autographed by Mr. Lewis, and I'll put
excellent.
them on at a discounted price from what they are on our web shop.
Oh, excellent.
So
I'm sure that'll come
it's a
as
good
great.
opportunity for any Herschel Gordon Lewis fan to come out and own a piece of, Herschel's last film. So
Absolutely. That's fantastic. No, I'm super glad to hear that.
good. Well, we're looking forward to this. Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion, or?
Well, just a big thank you to our sponsors. We had some key people that helped us make this happen. I mean, you can plan and think and work as hard as you want, but at the end of the day, without the support and the backing of our key sponsors, Revolver Music, Tavern on White, Garage 104, Kamikaze Tattoo, as I mentioned before, MNK Photography, who's been a huge help with our graphic design. Miranda's amazing there. Check her out. All Season Garden and Center. And of course, last but not least, Metro Cinema. I mean, they helped us from the very get-go of the inception of the project. And they helped us with fundraising efforts by letting us screen Sleepaway Camp there to raise some funds for the show. And yeah, they've been backers from the get-go. I mean, they're real community players, and they took our crazy idea and just said, yeah, fuck it, we'll get on board with you, and we'll help you make this happen. So big props to Metro for that.
Well, I'm looking forward to this because Edmonton has such a strong horror base, like you say, with the Lobby DVD shop, and you have places like that where, I mean, Calgary, we don't really, I mean, if I'm looking for a horror DVD, it's Sunrise Records or Best Buy.
Yeah.
So it's pretty limited that way. So it's going to be fun for me to go out and just check out.
Hey
some
man,
of the
we're just 2.5 hours away.
I know.
Yeah.
Weather permitting.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've been lucky so far. We'll see what happens after this weekend. We've got this.
So we need the dates and where it is. The dates.
So,
Tell her
dates. February 16th and 17th. That's those are the dates for the event itself.
Okay.
As we said, Radisson Hotel and Convention Center, just off 76th Avenue. If you want a specific address, go to our website or join our social media pages.
I'll put it
Instagram.
right down there on the
there.
bottom of the screen.
Is it in front of me right now? Am I pointing
Well,
at
it will be in post. I'll fix it in post.
All right, great. Just follow us on Facebook. Join our group. Group pages where we actually do up to the minute kind of updates with everything to do with the convention itself, as much as it is an entertaining platform for the horror genre year round, because we post news on there, funny stuff, informative articles, you name it, everything horror. That's where you go to get your fix, right? And yeah, you'll learn what's coming up at the convention. So it's a one-stop shop.
Are we good for transit and parking too?
There's a ton of parking there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, ton of free parking at the convention itself. So if you're driving down, you have no issues with that. I know some of our local following, if they don't want to drive, they can make their way to White Ave at Tavern on White, which, like I said, is our home base. And we're actually going to be having a free shuttle service periodically throughout the day. So there's going to be convoys of ticket holders going from White Ave to the event and back. So kind of like, Heritage Days or whatever other festival there is that does that. All in the interest of getting everybody to the event conveniently, safely. If you want to drink, there's a bar at the convention. Hell, I'm going to be drinking. You're not going to want to drive. So this shuttle will get you to and from White Ave safely and for free. So. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, it sounds like you've done your advanced homework, and we're really looking forward to coming down to Edmonton, going up to Edmonton, and
It's up to Edmonton.
up to Edmonton, and
Up to Edmonton.
yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully the weather holds up for you guys.
Well, I hope so too. It's two-way traffic. It's not two-way traffic, so what the heck?
No, we'll be
Drive
fine.
carefully
We'll be
and
fine.
get there on time.
We'll walk fast, carry our stuff. We're hardy souls. You know?
There you go. You can always fly too, I guess, eh?
Oh yeah,
No.
Quick little hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah,
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Fans in Edmonton, please share this video all over the place. Let's get some people behind this first convention to ensure that there'll be more.
How about let's go bigger? Fans of the world here. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, I like Terry.
Let's go.
Yeah, if you're in Zimbabwe
Worldwide.
or Australia, share this.
If you're a horror fan and you can be there, be there. You know, don't be a dummy. You know, and go, oh, you should have. You know,
The worst thing to do is regret that you didn't go, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
That's
spend
right.
some money. If our international friends, you know, you have better currency than us, you know, now's the chance. You know, now's the chance. Come up and see.
America, here's your chance.
Yeah,
there you go.
okay.
Cash in on our terrible economy.
yes, but you know, like I was telling Jim, I want to have my dessert of a wall and cream today, because that's what we can call the wall peaches there. So anyway, that's
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I said that. Yeah, he said that.
We'll dive deeper into that at the convention when I see it.
He said that peaches. He said you can call it peaches. So I'm going to have a wall and peaches. Something. I don't know why I said that. Yes. Yeah.
Well, Cris Arrau, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you come back and do this again when we can just talk horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, sometime
Thanks,
after
gentlemen.
the convention, and when you've had a little chance to take a break, and yeah.
I'd love to, guys. Just say when and where.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Cris, for joining us, and we thank you for watching.
Yes.
Please join us. We'll have a new episode of Sinister Inclinations coming out very soon after the convention. We'll be doing some coverage.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us this evening. See you next time.
All right. Peace out.